Logging, yeah. So logging is, the common feature in pretty much everywhere. So in order to do logging, all you have to do is just specifying the package that you want to log into your application.properties file. Okay, so in this case, as a default, any package package on the org Spring Framework.web, they are at debugging level. In my case, I have com.jpassion.mvc package. They are also in the debug level. What does that mean? So debug is the most verbose, logging level. So it prints out a lot of information. The next one is info. The next one is error, warning, and error and fatal. So this is the least verbose. Okay, so in our case, we see lots of info. Yeah, so we set is info. So if you take a look at the application properties, we didn't set as info. So basically, it's using default value, which is info. So it doesn't display any debug logging message. Okay, because info is a default. But if you want to change it, you can just specify the org, logging.level.org.springframework.web, and you can set debug. Then you'll see lots of debug messages. I think I have one example. Let's see. I think I have a simple. Is that the? Yeah. I'm trying to find an example that I have. So form. So I think I have simple here. I have the application properties file. Yeah, so I have actually this logging level set to info. So let me actually try to run this guy in, let's say, debug level. So I'm going to just change the debug. Okay, and it will give a lot more information. So I stopped it, and then let's run this guy. And run as Java application. Yeah, so you can see, the debug messages are being displayed, right? So it gives you a lot of information. Okay. And suppose if you actually try to access the URL. So let's see, one convenient things that you could do is that, let me actually go to URL here. It will just display things. Sometimes if you actually send the request and if you got 44, so I'm going to just say, account XYZ, something like that, and XYZ or something like that, it will definitely have a 44, right? And I think, yeah, so debug message, let me see whether that actually give you some URL. Let's see. Yeah, here you go. So you can tell it's trying to map /account XYZ, and it couldn't find it, right? So that's the reason you are going to receive 44. Okay, so debug message might actually give you some more information when you are debugging a problem. Okay. But sometimes it's just be too much. So here, stay with the info is probably, as a default, is probably the thing you want to do. So let me just restart the application. Then we're gonna see just the info. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, so you're seeing just info here. Okay, and even if you are going to let's actually go to the root, and now if you go to whatever here, it probably doesn't give you any more information. Let's see whether it gave you information or not. Yeah, it doesn't give you that information. Okay, so yeah, depending on your need, you can actually set the debugging level on your application properties file. Okay, and you can specify, you can actually have as fine-grained as possible. So we are using web, but if you want to actually go to a particular sub-package of web, we can certainly do that. Okay. All right, so that is that, and so that is logging. So that's basically what we did. Okay. observe the logging message and try incorrect URL. Yeah, so that's I think what I just demonstrate that. So you should be able to, yeah, in fact you should be able to actually see looking up handler method, wrong URL, could not find handler method, wrong URL. So it gives you some information about those things. 6.4, you can add your logging. So in general, you should not use system.outprintln, all right? Because once it's there, it's impossible to remove it in production environment, right? So don't use system.outprintln. Instead, you want to use logging. Okay, so here we are going to use SLF4J logger. So this is how you're going to create a logger object here. Okay, and here this is the kind of the root of this logger. So you create a logger object from a logger factory, and then you can just use logger and then info level. And if you want to display as a warning level, then you say WAN or error and things like that. So we are just adding logging info, and then logger debug. Okay, so depending on the level you set, only the debug messages will so if you set to info as a default level, then only these two messages are going to be displayed. If you set the level to debug, then all these messages, 3 messages, are all displayed. So by using logger, you can kind of disable these things in the production environment, so you have a flexibility. So that's the reason you should never use system out println in your code. Instead use a logger. Okay, so you can set the logger for your package. Again, the package I want to display is a com.jpassion.com MVC, and it's setting debug. When you restart the application, then you should see these messages coming from your code. Okay. The last one is debugging. So debugging is nothing really special, right? So you can make a breakpoint, and you can set the multiple breakpoint, and you can do source code level debugging and watching variables and all that stuff. So this is nothing different from any other source code level debugging. So you can just make a breakpoint any place. So I'm going to just use it simple here. Let's see, I can make a breakpoint in controllers. So suppose so let's make a breakpoint right here. So double click it. So breakpoint is made, and then what you do is right click, and instead of run as, you're gonna do debug as. Okay, so depending on whether you are using embedded Tomcat server, which is the case all along for us, you choose Java application. If you want to debug your application deployed over a real server, then you choose a debug on server. So in this case, you're going to still use the embedded Tomcat, so you're going to choose debug as and Java application. Okay, and then when we run it, that breakpoint is going to be hit, and then we should do step-by-step source code level debugging. So when things are not working as expected, sometimes you want to do this source code level debugging. Okay. All right. So it is hit. So you can see, oh, it looks like the exception is already thrown. Interesting. So why is that the case? So account controller. So why is it actually throwing in this case? Okay, so let me actually choose a different project. Terminate and go to Java perspective. And let's see, I'm going to use a different, just choose the error handling. It doesn't really matter which one it is. So I'm going to actually account controller, and so here I'm going to make a breakpoint here. Okay, so this is a case handle form request. Make a breakpoint, and so let's stop, and right click here, debug as Java application. So the breakpoint should be hit in this case when I submit the form, because I make a breakpoint on create method. Okay. Okay, so it's deployed. So let's go to here, go to the root. Oh, this is error handling case. So I cannot really choose the right one. All right. Yeah, so so it actually goes the right away account. Yeah, so I'm gonna actually should be able to do that account like this. Okay, so good. So I should be able to now create an account and the submit. Now breakpoint should be hit. Yeah, so it is hit. Okay, so you can certainly find the you can go to the variables here. So account contains the balance is in fact the initial value is null, precision blah blah blah. Yeah, so that's balance. What about the name? Name is Sang and things like that. So yeah, so basically I can find out all the values of the variable and things like that, and you can do step by step. So I can actually do step over or step into. So typically you want to do step over, so that's F6, so it goes the next line, so it goes to F6 next line, and then I can actually continue resume, and it should work as expected. Okay, and so it should yeah, it should actually continue. So we should you should actually view account. I expect the it displayed something like detailed information or something like that. Suspend. Oh, okay, maybe it's not. Anyway, so I just show you how to make a breakpoint and actually do some debugging. All right, so that is the end.